Hello students, in today's video we are going to study structure or the anatomy of autonomic nervous system. Now as we all know, autonomic nervous system is of two types, sympathetic nervous system and parasympathetic nervous system. So in today's video we are going to study structure or the anatomy of sympathetic nervous system and parasympathetic nervous system. Now first look at this schematic diagram. Now as we all know, peripheral nervous system connects our entire body to the central nervous system, and peripheral nervous system is made up of cranial nerves and spinal nerves. Now this peripheral nervous system is broadly divided into autonomic nervous system and somatic nervous system. Now somatic nervous system controls all the voluntary functions of the body. It controls functions mediated by the skeletal muscles like movement of hands, legs, etc. On the other hand, autonomic nervous system, very important to remember here that autonomic nervous system controls all the involuntary functions of the body. So, autonomic nervous system controls functions mediated by smooth muscles, cardiac muscles and the glands. Now here it is essential to understand that smooth muscles are found in all the visceral organs of the body, that is internal organs of the body. Like for example, it is found in the wall of stomach, then lungs, liver, uterus, urinary bladder, etc. Then cardiac muscles are found in the wall of heart. And the glands, exocrine glands, they release digestive juices. So autonomic nervous system controls body processes like digestion, metabolism, breathing, urination, heartbeat, etc. Now autonomic nervous system is so named because it works automatically. It works automatically without the conscious efforts of a person. Now, autonomic nervous system is further divided into sympathetic nervous system, in short SNS, and parasympathetic nervous system, in short PNS. So, sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system control all involuntary functions of the body, that is the functions carried out by smooth muscles, cardiac muscles and the glands. So in today's video, we are going to study structure of sympathetic nervous system and parasympathetic nervous system. Now as you can see here, peripheral nervous system is made up of nerves. So sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous systems are also made up of nerves. Now the two systems work together so as to maintain a balance or homeostasis in the body. The two systems ensure that the body responds appropriately to different situations. Now sympathetic nervous system prepares the body for action and thus it keeps the body alert. Now it is predominantly active during dangerous and stressful situations. It prepares the body to deal with stress. Now it for example speeds up the heart rate, improving blood supply to different parts of the body. Then it also increases the release of glucose from the liver, providing extra energy to the body. And it also increases supply of oxygen to the body tissues. So sympathetic nervous system prepares the body to deal with the stress, and therefore the sympathetic nervous system prepares the body for fight or flight responses. Now on the other hand, parasympathetic nervous system relaxes our body after a period of stress or danger. It controls the body's ability to relax and it maintains rest and digest responses of the body. It helps maintain daily functions like digestion, resting heart rate, metabolism, breathing rate, etc. And it essentially keeps our body relaxed. Now, besides this, sympathetic nervous system is also known as thoracolumbar outflow, whereas parasympathetic nervous system is also known as craniosacral outflow. This we are going to discuss in the next slide of the video. Now look at this chart. It explains the structure of sympathetic nervous system and parasympathetic nervous system. It explains why parasympathetic nervous system is known as craniosacral outflow, while sympathetic nervous system is known as thoracolumbar outflow. Now, as we all know, peripheral nervous system connects central nervous system to the different organs of the body. So now let's study structure of sympathetic nervous system and parasympathetic nervous system, and how these two systems, they connect central nervous system to the target organs of the body. Now this is the structure of the central nervous system. This area represents the brain stem, and this is the spinal cord. Now here sympathetic nervous system, in short SNS. Sympathetic nervous system is represented by the red color, whereas parasympathetic nervous system here is represented by the blue color. Now, sympathetic nervous system as well as parasympathetic nervous system, both these systems, they have two motor neurons, or we can say they have two efferent neurons between the central nervous system and the target organs. Now, these two neurons are the preganglionic neuron, and first is the preganglionic neuron, and the second neuron is the postganglionic neuron. Now, these two neurons, they transfer the information from the central nervous system to the body organs. Now, as per the information, these body organs, they give response. Now, as we know, every neuron or every nerve cell has a cell body and an axon. Now, this axon is also known as the nerve fiber. Now, the cell bodies of all the preganglionic neurons are located in the brain or in the spinal cord. Now, preganglionic neuron of sympathetic nervous system originate in the spinal cord at the thoracic or at the lumbar region, and thus sympathetic nervous system is known as thoracolumbar outflow. Now, these cell bodies originating from the spinal cord are actually the spinal nerves. On the other hand, parasympathetic nervous system. Now this represents, the blue color represents the parasympathetic nervous system. Now the preganglionic neurons of parasympathetic nervous system, they originate either from the brain or they originate from the sacral region of the spinal cord. And thus parasympathetic is also known by an alternate name, that is the craniosacral outflow. Now, these cell bodies that are originating from the cranial region, from the brain region, are known as the cranial nerves, and those that are originating from the spinal cord are known as the spinal nerves. Now, further, as you can see here, axons of all the preganglionic neurons synapse with the cell body of the postganglionic neuron. So the synapse is formed here, and the information that is collected by this preganglionic neuron is transferred to the postganglionic neuron. Now here the synapse is formed at the ganglia, and this is a cell body which is present at the ganglia. Now actually ganglias are the clusters of nerve cell bodies, and these ganglias, they are found throughout the body. Now in sympathetic nervous system, as you can see here, this ganglia, all the ganglias in sympathetic nervous system are located or are present near the spinal cord, whereas in the parasympathetic nervous system, these ganglia, they are present close to the organ, or sometimes they are present on the wall of the target organ. So this preganglionic neuron, it brings the information from central nervous system, and then it supplies this information to the postganglionic neuron, and this postganglionic neuron, it provides it further transmits that information to the target organ. Now as per the information received this target organ, it produces the response. So this is how the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system, they connect the central nervous system with the different organs of the body, and whatever information they bring from the spinal cord or from the brain, that information is supplied, or that information is received by the target organ, and as per the information received, these organs, they produce the response. So by now you know that cranial or spinal nerves bring information from the central nervous system. This information is provided to the organs, and based upon the information received, the organs, they produce their response. Now this information from the central nervous system is brought in the form of a chemical, and that chemical is known as a neurotransmitter. Now in both the parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous system, the preganglionic neurotransmitter is the acetylcholine, but postganglionic neurotransmitter in sympathetic nervous system is the norepinephrine, in short NE, and the postganglionic neurotransmitter in the parasympathetic nervous system is the acetylcholine. So as you can see here, in sympathetic nervous system, the neurotransmitter that is released at the target organ is the norepinephrine, and in parasympathetic nervous system, the neurotransmitter that is released at the target organ is the acetylcholine. So this is the general structure of sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system. So as we have already discussed, the structure, the anatomy of sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system consists of two effector neurons. Now one is the first is the preganglionic neuron, other is the postganglionic neuron. Now these neurons, they bring information from the central nervous system and provide that information to the target organs, and this information is brought in the form of a chemical called as a neurotransmitter, and the neurotransmitter that is released at the organ in sympathetic nervous system is the norepinephrine, whereas the neurotransmitter that is released in the parasympathetic nervous system at the effector organ is the acetylcholine. So this is a structure of parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous system. Now, most of the body organs are supplied with sympathetic as well as parasympathetic nervous system, and thus based upon the release of neurotransmitter, that particular organ produces its response. Let's talk about the heart. If norepinephrine is released, heart rate will increase, but if acetylcholine is released, heart rate will reduce. But normally sympathetic and parasympathetic, they work in a balance so that homeostasis is maintained, and the heart rate or the heartbeat is maintained at around 72 beats per minute. So this was in general about the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system. Now at this point it is important to understand one more structural or anatomical characteristic feature of sympathetic nervous system. So look at these two figures. As we have already studied, in sympathetic nervous system, norepinephrine or noradrenaline is released at the target organ. As you can see here on the smooth muscles, heart and the gland, it is the norepinephrine that is released, and norepinephrine will produce its action on these structures. Now, if norepinephrine is released at the target organ, which now norepinephrine is also known as noradrenaline. So, if norepinephrine or noradrenaline is released at the target organ, the sympathetic nervous system is known as adrenergic sympathetic nervous system. So, noradrenaline or norepinephrine is usually the neurotransmitter in sympathetic nervous system, and sympathetic nervous system is known as the adrenergic sympathetic nervous system, but there are few exceptions. Now major exceptions are sweat glands, skin, blood vessels of the skeletal muscles. Now these organs have no parasympathetic supply, and these organs are supplied only with sympathetic nervous system. But here, sympathetic post-ganglionic neurotransmitter is acetylcholine instead of norepinephrine, and therefore this sympathetic nervous system is known as sympathetic cholinergic nervous system. So in majority of cases, because of sympathetic stimulation, norepinephrine is released at the target organ, but there are few exceptions where acetylcholine is released at the target organ. And if acetylcholine is released in the sympathetic nervous system, then sympathetic nervous system is known as sympathetic cholinergic nervous system. So this is the anatomy or structure of a sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system. If you find the video useful, kindly like, subscribe and share this video. Thanks for watching this video.